York's very own muscle building coaches, Anthony Bevilacqua and Pete Kacharian, proudly present to you New York Muscle Radio.
Song for all those nice little Jewish kids who don't get to hear any Hanukkah songs. Here we go. So much Hanukkah to celebrate Hanukkah.
All right, guys, what's up? New York Muscle Radio here with the 12 Days of Fitness podcast. We had to throw in a Hanukkah song for all you Jews out there.
All the nice little Jewish kids.
We're bringing back all the classic podcasts we've ever done. And in today's episode, we discuss how to build the ultimate female physique. New York Muscle Radio is flooding your podcast feed. If you're a new listener, welcome to the best muscle building radio show ever. It's your host, Anthony Bevilacqua, alongside my co-host, Big Pete Kacharian. This is an episode that's near and dear to his heart because he loves creating the ultimate woman's body.
Nice. I was going to ask you what we had on tap. I don't remember this episode, but I'm sure it was a good one.
It was 73, actually. Episode 73. Damn, that's almost 70 episodes ago.
Yeah, we did this, I remember now. We did this once we started getting so many requests from females to talk about more female topics, because it's funny, when we first started, I didn't assume that we had a big female audience, but it was a lot bigger than I think both of us realized at the time, and I'd say now it's still pretty much that way.
Yeah, we do have a nice amount of New York Muscle Radio ladies.
I like that too, because it kind of separates us from everybody else with the, one audience. We have a pretty diverse audience. It's pretty good because everybody's on the same page. Everybody here is trying to get stronger, get leaner, just look better, and male or female. If this was 10 years ago, it would all be men.
Yeah. Well, I think that we do a good job of encompassing everything on this podcast: powerlifting, bodybuilding, nutrition, average, lifestyle, over 50. We've tried to encompass everything with the podcast. So if you just want to learn anything about fitness, you could just subscribe to this podcast and you'll learn everything there is to know. And like we said in the last one too, I want to have one on Olympic lifting because I know nothing about it. So I think it would be really cool to have like a live podcast where we're learning stuff too,
Yeah, that's one topic we haven't really, ventured off into yet.
Yeah, I've never done Olympic lifting. I've tried doing like snatches and like cleans and whatnot. And I don't know, it's just weird to me. I don't know. I'm sure I could do them. Like if I practice them, but they're totally different lifts in itself.
Yeah, I actually took one CrossFit class one time in my life, and I say one time. I took it. Why did you
do CrossFit?
I was hanging out with a girl at the time who was
the power of the vagina.
Yes, and she was a CrossFit girl, and she said, "Listen, come with me to CrossFit one time. I want to see if you like it." So she convinced me to go to CrossFit. And from what I know, actually, I think you got to pay like a lot of money to take the classes in there. But like she somehow like got me in for free. I don't know. So I was like, all right, if it's free and I got a hour workout, I'll give it a try. And they started with those. I think we were doing. I don't know what we were doing. We might have been doing snatches.
Were you wearing the leather pants?
I can't remember, man, but it's very possible.
Very possible.
Depends on my mood and what I had planned for the rest of the night. But we were doing the snatches or whatever it is, and, she's saying, I was doing them, and I was still treating the lift like a bodybuilding movement or a powerlifting movement, and I was lowering it slowly. She's like, no, you got to drop the weights. You're doing it wrong. You're supposed to drop them. I'm like, why the hell am I going to drop it?
Yeah, I don't know. CrossFit's its own animal, but I think CrossFit does a good job in teaching those Olympic lifts. So if you're interested in that, I would say seek out a CrossFit, but make sure you find the reputable one. I have nothing against CrossFit. I'm actually CrossFit certified. I'm a coach, believe it or not. But I think, like I said, Olympic lifts, CrossFit's where to go as far as teaching, properly with that. But I don't know. This is not the Olympic lifting podcast right now, so we'll come back to that. I'm excited to learn about it, though, so as you could tell.
Yeah.
What's going on your end, man? How's everything?
Everything is good, man. I'm feeling good. I have no complaints right now, which is good.
I'm sure you have complaints, but no one really wants to listen to them.
No. This is not Pete's podcast tonight.
Yeah, I hate that. You ever hear that expression before?
What?
Yeah, I forget how it goes, but like, oh yeah, I have problems, but no one wants to listen to it. Something like that. Something to that effect. You ever heard that like expression before?
I don't know if that was an expression, but
Yeah, it is. It's such an annoying like, expression.
no. Well, I don't really mean that. I don't know where we were going with this. But as far as my no complaints, I was actually referring to training, dieting. Everything is going good on that end right now. We're right now training together. If anybody doesn't know, we are on week 3 of a 27-week cycle that we're actually running, and I feel good, feel strong.
I think I'm on like a 46-week cycle,
Okay,
I believe.
So I'm only making it for like half the ride. But 27 weeks is a long ride, and like I said, we're on week 3 right now. I feel good. I feel strong. My diet's going pretty good. I'm not really in a bulking or a cutting phase. I'm pretty much right around maintenance. And more so in like an intuitive eating way, not really sticking to a strict macro plan, but I'm not trying to gain weight or lose right now. I'm just trying to get as strong as possible. And I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really confident that at the end of the 27 weeks, I'm going to put up significant increases on my bench, squat, and deadlift. And I'm feeling confident on all 3 of them.
Of course you are, because I'm doing your programming.
And I haven't deviated at all. I haven't questioned it, haven't complained, haven't decided to change it. That's my biggest thing, and I'll admit that fault. That is one huge fault I have, is I don't like to listen to other people. I don't really like to listen to anybody, to be honest with you, and people take it personally. Like my father used to always hate it when I was younger. So you don't listen to a word I say. And I'm like, yeah, it's not personal. I just don't listen to anybody, you know? So
the only person you listen to is voices in the head.
I listen to them, and those are probably the last ones I should listen to. But that's the way it goes, But so yeah, this is probably the first time I think I'm gonna commit to something that long and allow someone else to have control over it. I guess that makes me a control freak. Is that what that is?
Yeah, that makes you all kinds of crazy. That's what it makes you.
Yeah, but
I'm recording this. I'm cutting you off, and I'm changing the subject. Don't ask me why, but
because that's what you like to do. You like to cut me off all the time. Like, Pete, let me ask you a question. So you talk a little bit, but then you know what? Let me get back to it now.
Don't get so sensitive. No, man, I just wanted to point it out.
Okay.
This is day 6 of our 12 Days of Christmas podcast. We're 6 days away from Christmas, man.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Christmas just came by so fast this year.
Yeah, what the hell? 6 days away.
I felt like this year, to be honest with you, I didn't really feel like the Christmas spirit. Not like me personally, but I felt like as a whole. Like I didn't see so many people like in the Christmas spirit. I don't know. Did you get that vibe or not really?
I felt like I was a little bit in the Christmas spirit like last week.
I don't know. It just seemed like it came by so fast that like no one had time to enjoy like Christmas before it actually came.
Did you actually do any shopping?
You want to hear a funny story? I was actually at the mall earlier today, and I was in Macy's, and I was watching 2 men steal jeans. A true story. I don't make this shit up, guys.
I don't want to keep reiterating the same joke, but were they in the leather department?
I don't believe Macy's sells leather jeans, but I could be completely wrong. No, I was in the Levi's section.
I think we talked about this before with those people who do like that pyramid scheme, how they come up to you in like random stores.
Yeah.
So I think someone came up to me in a Macy's and they said, "Oh, hey man, you want to rep a sports line?"
Oh yeah, well I told you that. I went into a Barnes & Noble one day and I got approached. I was on the top floor in the business and self-improvement section, and I got approached by one guy. And then I said, all right, this guy's creeping me out. I got to go downstairs. So I went downstairs to the biography section, and then I got approached by another guy. I said, you know what? I'm never coming back to Barnes & Noble again.
You've been having all kinds of luck lately. What about that message you got on Facebook the other day?
Oh, man, this guy loves talking about my personal life, huh? The guy who messaged me might listen to the podcast. He may either get excited or offended.
So what happened? I don't remember the story. Please refresh my memory.
Oh, let me explain it to you. So I was sitting at home on a nice Thursday night, and I got a nice little message. I got a bling on my phone, and it was a nice fine gentleman from New York, and I thought maybe I knew him. I don't know. He said, "Hey man." I said, "Hey man." He goes, "You into guys?"
Just right out the gate. He didn't hold back.
Oh no, he was straight and to the point, and I guess to some degree I can appreciate that because I like when people get to the point. You know what I mean?
So you're saying you were intrigued?
I wasn't intrigued, but I could appreciate his upfront and honesty.
See, there you go again. Sugarcoating it once again for the podcast people. Oh, man. Lately, I've been ripping on you too much, man. I think it should be my New Year's resolution to stop doing that.
I don't care, man. I don't take it personally. Again, you're my friend. It doesn't bother me when my friends rip on me.
All right, let's move on to the trending topic. So again, I love this thing because it allows me to be a little bit flexible here in what I bring up and what I could talk about. So I found this article, 50 Cent's 8-move endurance workout. So now 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson, he's focusing on building endurance and functional training. And he's doing all these weird exercises, which I'll go over in a second, but they have like a picture of him here. He doesn't look as good as he used to, man.
Yeah, because he's off the juice.
He really doesn't. He used to be 50 Cent used to be huge and ripped.
He used to be huge.
Yeah, he doesn't look like that anymore. That's for sure.
No.
And he's holding a lot more body fat now than I've ever seen him before. But his trainer, whoever this guy is, highlights the approaches he uses. He focuses on sleep, nutrition, hydration, and setting up strategies to decrease stress or handling stress. So this is why 50 Cent looks like shit, because he's focusing on other things other than the proper way to do things.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, hold on. It gets better, man. I'll read this to you. So sleep to recover. But I agree with this, so maybe I'll just skip that. All right. Don't diet. This is one of the things. I don't believe, this is his trainer talking. I don't believe in diets. Food is a habit, not the root cause. With 50, we focus on non-inflammatory foods such as tart cherry juice, natural melatonin, broccoli, and spinach.
Okay, so no protein.
Exactly.
We're on a no protein diet. He calls it like the non-inflammation diet, but it's really the non-protein diet.
Yeah, and he says in this article, he says there's a couple things actually that are funny, but he says, see the future. Whenever I'm coaching, I do a lot of neuro-linguistic programming.
God. Oh, man.
And then he says here, create a goal, figure out why you want it, what you're going to do, and how you're going to do it, and then give yourself a time frame. People don't usually know their purpose. That's why there's so many self-help books on Amazon right now. All right, but that I agree with.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, he uses neuro-linguistic programming to psych him up, and so we're connected with his current self and his future self.
Oh, my God.
And
guys, listen, this fitness shit is very simple. Eat better. If you want to lose weight, be in a caloric deficit. If you want to put on muscle, be in a caloric surplus. Eat enough protein and lift some heavy weights. That's it. That'll solve all of it. You don't have to go and, write down where you want to be 10 years from now and then meditate on it for 20 minutes before you work out. You don't have to go study NLP and be certified in that. These are all gimmicks. Curtis Jackson was huge 10 or 15 years ago, and he wasn't doing any of that shit. What does that tell you?
Yeah, he was benching heavy and juicing, so that's why. Wait, so these are the exercises he does. A car driver, which I don't know what that is, doing plate push-outs, stimulates actions used in fight scenes. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. So this is funny. He does pull-ups, but 50 likes the wheel. He pulls himself up, making a big circle. Besides that, we avoid regular pull-ups and chin-ups. I don't want that type of stretch on the shoulder.
Okay.
Well,
Great advice, buddy.
Yeah, then he does the barbell roll at the end because it's such a strong core movement, and 50 needs his core strong throughout the day. This is ridiculous.
People who listen to this, they're going to think, I don't know, maybe they don't think, maybe they agree with me, but they're going to think that I'm just a negative person and that I'm just hating on the guy because he puts this information out.
Well, that's all true, but besides that.
No, but the reality of it is that you and I both know how much of bullshit that is.
Yeah, this is all clickbait stuff. When we talk about clickbait stuff, this is exactly what it is. This is why he looks like shit also now.
Well, he looks like shit because he's not only not doing anything, he's not doing that. They're just saying he's doing that.
Yeah. And he's not eating any protein. It's sad, man. 50 Cent used to be an icon.
He used to make good music. He was huge.
Yeah, he's terrible.
So now he's tiny and he doesn't make any good music.
Yeah, none. But whatever. What are you gonna do? I mean, this is one of the things that I can't stand about this industry is that there's things like this up and it'll get so many views. It's crazy. It's insane. This is what people click on.
I know.
Let me see what 50 Cent does.
And that's why we have a lot of confused people.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. Take it from me. 50 Cent does not do that.
No.
All right, man. Let's move on to the shout-outs portion of this podcast. Again, guys, if you want to shout out, you can head on over to Facebook.com/New York Muscle Radio, or you could like us on Instagram I'm at AB Fitness, and Pete's at Jacked Fitness, JAKKED Fitness. I'm just pulling them up here.
Yeah.
All right, so we have, you have some?
No, you know what? I was just thinking it is the Christmas spirit, Christmas holidays. We should stop hating on people. No, you don't want to do it either? Okay, fine. Let's go to the shout-outs.
All right, I hope you edit that part out, big guy. All right, anyway, we have Brian Hickman, Joe Melendez, Victor Manuel, Erica Kelly. Erica Kelly. Hold on, I'm just losing my spot here. Mark Dahl, Felipe Augusto, Rich Pellegrino, and Serafino Vesio. Again, guys, if you would like a shout out, you can head on over to Facebook.com/New York Muscle Radio, or send us a message on Instagram again, and we will shout you out on this podcast. All right, so let's take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
But I'll tell you what, when I'm done, my biceps are humongous. Humongous. Like that, bang!
My name is Anthony Bevilacqua, and I'm the host of New York Muscle Radio podcast. My arms have been a weak point for years. When I started training, my arms measured 11 inches. Even after many years of hardcore training, nothing would get them to grow. With the help of my co-host, Big Pete, we set out on a mission to gain 1 solid inch to my arms in 12 weeks.
In the greatest experiment of all.
12 weeks later, this program finally helped me get 18-inch arms. The 12-week arm experiment, the ultimate arm growth program, ebook, the audio book, and the workout video. Pick up your copy now on NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
What's up, New York Muscle Radio listeners? It's your co-host, Big Pete Kacharian, and I'm glad you're all listening. Put down that tilapia and asparagus. Learn how to get bigger, stronger, and leaner eating what you want. Pick up a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com. But for now, let's get to the show.
Damn.
Nice, Pete.
What?
I saw you checking out that girl's butt.
What? I was just checking out her yoga pants.
Pete.
I was thinking you'd look really good in yoga pants.
Uh-huh.
I was like trying to check out what brand it was. Like I was looking at her form on deadlifts. They were all messed up.
Do you think she has a nicer butt than me?
Well, it definitely doesn't look like a pancake.
Did you just call my butt a pancake?
Well, I mean,
What can I do?
you gotta try New York Muscle Radio's Glutylicious program.
Glutylicious.
Yeah, you'll finally get a celebrity booty, like all the other girls following the program.
Fine, I'll do it. But don't get jealous when other guys check out my glutylicious ass.
Glutylicious, your guide to getting a celebrity booty in 12 weeks. Now available exclusively at NewYorkMuscleRadio.com.
Want anything special for your birthday?
Just a decent cup of coffee.
You're kidding.
I'm serious. Honey, your coffee's undrinkable.
It's pretty harsh.
Well, so's your coffee. You know, the girls down at the office make better coffee on their hot plates.
And he didn't even kiss me goodbye. You know, if I could just make a decent cup of coffee, I could relax.
So relax. Why don't you try Coffeen from BuyProteinCoffee.com? Tastes good as fresh perked.
Good as fresh perked.
And it has protein. 10 grams per scoop.
I'll surprise Harvey for his birthday tonight.
Hey, great coffee.
Doesn't it taste good as fresh perked?
Better.
Better than those girls make at the office?
Honey, their coffee can't hold a candle to yours.
Coffeen, the world's only instant coffee that's fortified with muscle-building protein. Visit BuyProteinCoffee.com now.
Hey guys, it's your host, Anthony Bevilacqua, and I just wanted to announce that my brand new personal training facility is now open. I'm currently taking on new clients in the Long Island, New York area. If you're interested in working with the best personal trainer in the business, head on over to abfitnesstrainer.com and sign up for your free consultation. Then you can understand why bodybuilding.com has named me Personal Trainer of the Month. All right, guys, so we're going to move on now to today's episode. Today's episode, again, like I said, the blueprint to the ultimate female physique. So, ladies, this episode is for you. All right, we're going to go over a couple of key points for getting women the ultimate female physique. A couple of things that we need, we demand women do when they work out, period. These are our, I guess, what do you want to call them, rules?
I guess, yeah, you could say the rules to...
We do a lot of podcasts with rules in it.
Yeah, but I think people need rules. You know what I mean? I think when you give somebody a set of rules...
Rules are meant to be broken.
That's true, but you need to apply the rules first, then you got to go beyond it. So, I mean, I think people who don't have any rules to follow in the first place, they don't know where to go. They're just all over the place. You give people a set of rules, they experiment with it, and then, you could break them.
All right, guys, so rule number 1, go to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com, click on Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code, pick up a copy for you and all your friends, and make sure you recommend this podcast to everyone you know. Give us a 5-star review. Those are the main rules. Those are the New York Muscle Radio listener rules.
I just thought of something funny, not to change the subject, but we'll get right back to the first rule. But I gotta mention it. You ever see that meme on Instagram? It's with the picture of Brad Pitt from Fight Club, and it's a meme about, I think it's vegan or paleo. I think there's one about both of them. Let's just say paleo. They said first rule in Paleo Club: tell everyone about Paleo Club. I did see that. It's so true. Like, some of these memes are just so accurate. Whoever made that meme, I have to give credit to. I have no idea, but you did a great job, because that is probably one of the most accurate things in the fitness community.
So you know what you got to do, Pete? Actually, I want you to do it right now. Message Mel. He's our graphic designer for New York Muscle Radio. He does great work. So if you need to check him out, just check him out on our page. He's somewhere over there. Check out Mel. Email him and tell him to make us a meme. The first rule of New York Muscle Radio is just do that, the Fight Club thing.
Okay.
Have him do it and make it. And then we'll have our listeners, we're going to have him share it. So all your listeners, look out for that picture. As soon as you see it, I want you to share it. We're going to pick 2 people, and we're going to give you guys a copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code. We're going to give you the audiobook along with Maximizing Your Metabolism audiobook. So we're going to give out those 2 winners. All right? So that as soon as you see that meme, start sharing it all over the place, and then we'll pick 2 winners.
Perfect.
Come on,
Sounds good.
The podcast does these things, man.
Nobody does anything.
We give back to the people so much. It's not even funny. My laryngitis is so excited right now. You have no idea.
You sound a lot better, though.
Yeah, it's definitely getting better. I mean, I think, when was I really bad? Friday night?
Yeah, you were bad Friday night, man.
I couldn't even speak. It was horrible. Yeah, because it was the first day of the expo. We literally went around the expo trying to talk to people, and I couldn't say one word. I felt like an idiot. I really did. I couldn't say anything, and I had to have Pete talk for me. And you guys know how that goes.
Yeah, we lost a little bit in translation.
All right, so let's go. Rule number 1, since Pete says that we're going to call these rules. Rules are meant, to give people a structure. So rule number 1 for women, the ultimate guide to a female physique. Rule number 1, heavy weight training. Weight training is a must for women. And do you want to get into the whole reason why, or you just want to explain it? How do you want to do this? Because there's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, it's pretty simple when you get down to it, but there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, if you want to keep it simple, the fact is, like 99% of women don't train heavy enough. They don't even train with weights enough. And I think if your goal, a lot of people listening to this have different goals. A lot of females want to either, compete on the bikini stage. They want to look like an IFBB bikini pro. Then you have some who just want to lose weight. Maybe they want to tone up a little bit, but they want to just overall lose fat. And it really doesn't matter what your goal is. If your goal is to build muscle, or if your goal is just to lose weight, if you're not weight training heavy, you're definitely going to achieve less than optimal results. You're doing yourself a disservice not to be lifting heavy. And, it's more obvious in terms of if you're trying to build a little muscle on your frame, even if it's just to tone up, you need to lift heavy. But if you're trying to just lose weight overall, if you weight train heavy and you build some muscle, or if you start burning those extra calories through weight training, your metabolism is going to speed up from building that extra muscle. Your metabolism is going to speed up from lifting those heavy weights. You're going to make losing fat and losing weight overall much easier. So no matter what your goal is, if you're not doing this weight training, you're neglecting that one area of actually achieving more faster, more optimal results. So no matter what your goal is, number 1, lift heavy.
Yeah, and the other reason why behind it is, I'm sure you guys, there was a commercial once, I forget for what it was, but anyway, if you ever noticed, when a man and a woman go on a diet, just a general diet, I guess this would be for the general population, just in general, I guess. If a man or a woman goes on a diet, usually the man loses almost 10 times as much weight as the woman does. And why is that? Men have a faster metabolism than women because they carry more muscle mass than women do. So it's even more important for women to actually try to gain muscle to help speed up your metabolism. So muscle is really the only thing that burns fat. You could do cardio for endless amounts of hours, and you're only going to be burning fat for that amount of time. As soon as you step off the treadmill or whatever you're doing, the fat burning process is pretty much done. Muscle, on the other hand, helps keep your metabolism raised throughout the course of the day. So this is why it's so important for women to weight train, period. Because, muscle is the only thing that burns fat.
Yeah. Every year that I get bigger and I put more muscle on my frame, it gets easier for me to get leaner. And it's just for the simple fact that there's more muscle on my frame. And I notice this with countless clients we work with. Every year that they're bigger, they're heavier, they have more muscle, they're going to diet on more food. They're going to lose fat much easier just because when they're sitting around doing nothing, their muscles are burning more calories. So, you're basically making your body a fat burning machine by putting more muscle on your frame.
Yeah. Also, women, don't be afraid to get bulky. As a lot of women think, oh my God, as soon as I lift weights, I'm getting bigger. I hear this shit all the time, especially from the general population. If I do the elliptical and I use the arm thing, my arms get bigger. It's like, no. That's just because there's blood in there. They're not getting bigger. But it's almost nearly impossible for a woman to quote-unquote bulk up.
Right.
You'll never look muscular. You'll never look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That doesn't happen overnight. And the key hormone in building muscle is testosterone. A woman on the high end, so if a woman has the maximum amount of testosterone she can have is 20, I think it's nanograms per deciliter. Is that what it is with testosterone?
I'm not sure of the exact number.
I think it's nanograms per deciliter.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact number for female.
I know it's 20, but the unit is nanograms over decimeters, whatever it is. A man at the lowest level can have anywhere between 100 and 200 nanograms per deciliter. So you see, there's a huge gap there. So if a woman even had the highest amount of testosterone that she could possibly have, it's still significantly lower than what a man is at the lower. So this is why it's even more important for women to work out with weights, because it's harder for them to gain muscle, period.
Yeah, and one thing I tell a lot of women is I always hear I don't want to get bigger, if I train with these weights, and the assumption is that they're going to accidentally get bigger, and I tell them the same thing. It's hard for guys to even put on muscle. Like you don't just lift the weight and grow. Like you have to train very hard. You have to eat properly, then you grow muscle. So a female who's even trying to gain muscle is going to have trouble. Yeah. So don't be afraid that it's going to accidentally happen. I promise you it won't.
It's so funny that you say it like that because it's so true. Women think as soon as they pick up a dumbbell, oh my God, I can't go any heavier than this because I'm going to gain weight. No. I wish that was the case. Yeah. I really wish you could gain muscle that easily because then this podcast probably wouldn't exist.
It's true. Yeah, you wouldn't really need to do anything. You could just pick up a dumbbell and grow. I mean, it's not how it works.
You pick things up and put them down. But this is why it's even more important for women to work out. And don't be afraid of heavy weights. Don't shy away. Always try to be progressive. The same things we always talk about in every podcast. Progression, big compound movements, focus on deadlift, squat, bench press, and just keep progressing in the weight room. And always try to add more and more and more and more and more. And you'll start to see that your physique will drastically change within the next, 3, 6, 9, 12 months.
Yeah, and that's a really good point too, because I've worked with two different groups of girls. Like you'll have the group of girls who will actively train very frequently with a lot of volume, and they're really enthusiastic about building glutes, building better legs, and they might do an hour workout 2-3 times a week. Just keep hitting legs over and over again, doing everything, and not really lifting that heavy, squatting maybe like 65 pounds or so and just doing reps with it. And then I've had groups of girls that I've taken where they might only go to the gym once or twice a week, but I make them squat heavy and I make them deadlift heavy. And over the course of a few months, they go from squatting or deadlifting 65 pounds to squatting, 185 pounds, deadlifting 225 pounds. And they make much more progress in these girls training very frequently with lots of work, but never actually overloading the muscle with more weight, never forcing more growth, more progress. So, training hard has its place, but you have to be actually, you have to be doing more each time. You have to be progressing. So that's the key too. So heavy weights, you need to lead to progression as well.
Yeah, exactly. I had a client who came to me. She just basically did cardio pretty much. Typical. I would say typical woman diet, quote unquote. It's, not too crazy with the amount of protein and whatever. Just focus mainly on cardio. We basically obviously changed it. It's actually funny because I stopped her from doing any cardio. We focused mainly on weight training, and her body completely changed. She was deadlifting 225 for reps, and her body, I have pictures of it. Her body is just insanely different, and it's just, what changed there? You stopped the cardio, so you're stopping that and you're just building muscle instead, and your body just takes a whole different look to it. I touch a little bit on diet, but that's our second rule, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
Yeah, bottom line, don't equate the amount of effort you put into everything as the end result. The end result is going to be the amount of progress you're making from workout to workout, from month to month. It's not about, you could go in the gym and you could put yourself through a ton of pain 7 days a week, but if you're not progressing, you're not going to really see the results you want. So you need to separate those two things.
Exactly. All right, rule number 2. Sorry, my voice again. Minimum of 1 gram per pound of protein per pound. Minimum of 1 gram per pound of in protein. P, what the hell did you write here?
I don't know. I probably wrote it wrong. We got to read it word for word. You know what I'm saying.
I'm just looking at it. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
He's so like Anchorman. He reads everything word for word off the screen.
Yeah, it's my teleprompter. Come on, man. We're professional here. We have teleprompters. All right. Minimum. Basically, you want to get a minimum of 1 gram per pound of lean body mass in protein a day. That's basically what my co-host was trying to say. But he's still a little drunk here, right in the show notes.
Yeah, I mean, this rule is pretty straightforward, and I think we're not really emphasizing the number as much as it is to make sure you're eating adequate protein, because I think that's an issue with a lot of women. Most of them, I'd say, have trouble getting enough protein in because they simply just don't like to eat a lot of protein sources. I've never had a female come to me who had trouble getting in enough carbohydrates. Yeah, I'm good. I've never had a female come to me who had trouble getting enough carbohydrates. So if that was the problem with with protein, I think we'd see a lot of women with more muscle on their frame. But damn, I'm fucking coughing over here.
You're a right, big guy.
Sorry. I have to get my water. Hold on.
Here he goes. He's sipping.
I think I'm catching the laryngitis back, but I'm all right over here now. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Straightforward. A lot of women just don't consume enough protein, and I think a good rule is shoot for at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Whether you're trying to gain muscle or lose fat, that should be a minimum. There's certain circumstances where you could get by with a little bit less or a little bit more. But just as a very general rule of thumb, like women should aim for that because again, it's going to help you build that muscle, and it's also going to help you maintain that muscle when you're dieting down. And a lot of women try to tone up and not consume a lot of calories, but they're also not consuming a lot of protein. So sometimes just adding that protein in and not restricting calories will help them build muscle. And like we said, when we build that muscle, it's going to help them burn a little bit more fat. So sometimes just adding that protein in will achieve that toned up look that they're looking for.
So I actually have a question for you because you actually kind of mentioned it a little bit. You said there are certain instances where you can get away with a little less. So I have a lot of women who come to me who are beginners usually, and I'll say, when someone comes to a personal trainer, they want to lose weight. So they're a little heavier than the normal average person. So their protein requirements based on what we're saying is a lot higher. So if someone came to me and let's just say a woman and she was about 150 pounds, 160 pounds, whatever, do you start her protein intake at 160 grams?
No, that would be a situation where they could definitely get by on less. It depends what their overall goal is. If they're focused right then and there on just trying to lean down, maybe they want to get to like 100, 120 pounds, or depending how big they are. You could definitely get by with less, especially because there's not a lot of muscle on their frame, especially if they just started working out. If they're leaner, they maybe let's say that contest shape would be like 110, 115 pounds for the girl, but she's at like 125, 130 pounds, then definitely 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight would be where I would start them. But if it's just a regular female, just joining the gym. She's 150 pounds. She wants to tone down a little bit. She's probably consuming like maybe 40 or 50 grams of protein per day if she's lucky. I've seen some females who consume less than that. So just bumping it up, trying to get them maybe like, get like 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, or maybe even just say, okay, we'll start them at 100 grams and then take it from there. I mean, you want to definitely have adequate protein because it's going to help you build and maintain lean muscle. But sorry, I must have dust in my throat or something right now. But overall, if their goal is they're just starting out and they're just going to lose weight, you want to restrict those calories a little bit. And obviously protein is going to add up in calories. So you don't want to go too high with any one macronutrient. So, it's more balanced in the beginning. But
I agree. I'm sorry, man.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I agree with that 100%. I've done the same thing. When I had someone who came to me who's, in that situation, I always start them at like 100, 120. And sometimes I'll even add protein as the diet goes along, as they're starting to get better and better at it. Again, it all depends on their goals and what they want. So again, it's really going to always depend on where you are right now. And I agree with Pete, if you're more of a competitor, you have a little more muscle than the average girl, 1 gram per pound of body weight should be fine. For the general population, you could definitely go under that. But again, it's all going to depend on you. But you have to, the main thing is you have to make sure you're getting in your protein, especially for women. Protein is the building block of muscle. They contain essential amino acids, and you need those to help spike protein synthesis and gain muscle. And like we said earlier, the importance of muscle, more muscle, faster metabolism. Just, keep it simple.
Yeah, always remember that. That's I can't tell you how important that is.
All right. Rule number 3. I want you guys to limit your cardio. We mentioned this a little bit in the introduction, but a lot of women overdo cardio. They just feel like, I guess it's just since fitness started, it was always like the men are in the weight room and the women are doing classes. It's just kind of how it always was. The women are doing those DVDs, those tapes. What's his name? Not Louis Simmons. What the hell is his name? Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons?
No. You're talking about...
What's his name?
Man, why am I... Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons was the rapper. What the hell is his name?
I don't know. Anyway, whatever. You guys know what I mean. You guys, I think that's where the stigma came from, is that a lot of women started like that, thinking that, I'm going to get bulky like a man and I don't need to work out. So that's kind of why women just automatically tend to... Is it a stereotype for women to do cardio? Do you want to call it like a stereotype?
I think it's more of like a stigma to stay away from weight training. You know what I mean? Like there's a stigma towards lifting heavy weights for women. So cardio is kind of the acceptable way for females to work out. And weight training is just not, apparently. But I mean, I tell this to females all the time, and this is more along the lines of the average female that just starts working out and wants to lose weight. I think people in the fitness industry, this is a little more obvious, but I tell them all the time, if I had, people ask me, should I be doing more weights or should I be doing more cardio because I want to lose weight or I want to build muscle, like whatever it is. And I tell them it doesn't matter. Like no matter what your goal is, if your goal is, even if it's just to lose weight and you could only do one, weight train or do cardio, they're always going to expect me to say, do cardio if you're trying to lose weight. I tell them, absolutely not. 100% of the time, I would tell you, just do weight training. And it's not because I want you to, it's not because it's better. It's because of the fact that you're going to get much more. If you only have a half hour of your day to either weight train or do a half hour of cardio, your half hour of cardio is going to burn however many calories that you're going to burn when you're doing it. Then when you get off the treadmill or whatever it is you're using, you're going to stop burning those calories. You weight train for a half hour, you're going to build muscle in that half hour. Once you build that muscle, your body's going to speed up its metabolism. That extra muscle is going to burn extra calories while you're sitting around doing nothing. You're going to be able to eat more because you have more muscle in your frame, which is going to be burning more calories. And when you go to diet, your body's going to burn fat much easier because you have more muscle on your frame. So would you rather do that, or would you rather just go on a treadmill and just burn yourself out for a half hour? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, good point. You brought up a lot of good points. While you were talking, though, I actually looked up because I'm curious who that guy was, and I can't remember his name, but Jan Fonda is obviously another one who is another big one with that. Oh, Richard Simmons, you Todd. That's his name.
No, you said Russell Simmons.
Ah, whatever.
Yes.
Richard Simmons.
But you know what I love about Richard Simmons, which is perfect. It fits into this.
We should get him on the podcast. Is he still alive?
I think so.
I'm gonna find him. I want to get him on the podcast so he could come on.
Richard Simmons meets New York Muscle Radio. But no, the funny thing about him was he's a perfect example. Again, I keep going back to these memes, and I'm not really a big Instagram person, but some of these memes are so accurate, they just stick in my head. There's a picture of
Richard.
I was gonna call him Russell Simmons. There's a picture of Richard Simmons.
Works out his entire life.
And it says
never looks fit.
works out his entire life, never looks fit. And it's right. It's staring you right in the face. It's so true. If you look at him, he's not even in shape. And you know why? Because all he's doing is dancing and doing cardio. He's just doing cardio. He's never. Have you ever seen him lift weights? Does any of his workouts promote weightlifting? I mean, it's going to help the obese person lose a few pounds. But the fact is, he was never in shape. And that's to show you that if he had weight trained, maybe at one point in his life he would have been in shape. But it's true. He worked out his entire life, never once was in shape.
I'm looking at that exact meme right now.
It's so funny because it's so true. So if anybody's going to take anything away from this podcast, just look at Richard Simmons. You want to look like him? Do cardio. If you want to lift some weights, then you'll actually get in shape.
I always go with the basic, if you look at a marathon runner's physique and you look at someone who does sprints, their bodies are drastically different, whether men or women. A marathon runner is always going to be skinny, lanky, and kind of their body's going to have that kind of saggy look to it. I like to call it cardio body.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way
their
to put it.
Their body gets like that saggy look, and their muscles don't look tight. Whereas versus someone who does sprints or intervals, like a short distance sprinter, their body, they have much more muscle turgor. Their muscles are much more tighter. It almost looks like they're flexing, kind of all the time. Their muscles are just there, and their skin is very tight, and you could see the difference between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many. The best female physiques that aren't bodybuilders or physique athletes come from sprinters, female sprinters, and like soccer players. These sports that require these athletes to do high intensity. And
football players too, man.
Yeah, I was talking about specifically for females though. Like,
saying females can't play football, man. That's sexist.
Actually, when I was in high school, we had a female on our high school football team. Believe it or not, but she was the punter. But she did play high school football with us.
Did she tackle you in the back?
Yeah, I told you I don't incriminate myself on the podcast.
Oh, my friend. Anyway, move on. Let's move on to rule number 4 before we blow it up. Rule number 4: we're gonna utilize HIIT training.
Okay, good thing we moved along, as I was gonna jump ahead.
I knew you were gonna. Go ahead.
So again, I mean, rule number 3 is limit cardio. So rule number 4 is utilize HIIT. So obviously, you're not going to totally neglect cardio completely. And if anybody listens to any of the other podcasts, I'm a big fan of limiting cardio in general. But if you have to utilize some sort of cardio, which in most cases you do, not every case, HIIT is definitely more beneficial. And I think especially for women, HIIT is the best form of cardio. I mean, I'd say it's the best form of cardio for anybody, but specifically women, they should really be focusing on high intensity interval training because, again, the neglecting of calories and overdoing the cardio is going to result in that cardio body that you just described. You're going to have that looser skin. You're not going to have that toned muscle with that tight skin. Your body's not going to have that overall tight look. And that overall tight look comes from having muscle on your frame and being lean. So high intensity interval training is by far the most efficient for the time you're doing it. And it's going to help you build and maintain that muscle. Whereas long duration cardio is not really going to do much to build muscle. It's not going to do much to maintain it. That high intensity interval training is going to help you burn fat while it's also building muscle and maintaining it. So that's definitely the preferred choice of cardio for females. I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah, I mean, just for the simple fact that, like you said, it's obviously less time, I guess time on attention, whatever you want to call it, but it's less cardio work, and you're going to be focusing more on using the metabolic pathways as opposed to the cardiovascular pathways, which will develop a different body, like we said. So I don't really think I need to say anything else about that.
No, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, if you're gonna do cardio, do HIIT.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. It's more fun too. I mean, come on, who the hell wants to sit there on treadmill for 20 minutes? I'd rather push the sled. Which today was a beautiful day in New York, so I was able to actually use my sled. I bought the freaking thing months ago, and I haven't been able to use it because it's freaking been cold, rainy, snowing. So today's a beautiful day outside, so I was able to take the sled out with clients, and was awesome, man. I did a couple of sprints myself. I only had 4 plates on the damn thing, but freaking that I bought a different style sled than the one that we're used to, and it's freaking a lot harder.
Ah, man. Yeah, I know some of those sleds are hard. I actually miss pushing the sled. To be honest with you, I always joke with everybody how I hate cardio, and it's true. I do hate cardio. I don't do long duration cardio. I don't regularly do any form of cardio, but I mean, there's just something about pushing a heavy sled or doing some type of intervals like that are really, really intense that I do enjoy. Because it's pretty similar to weight training. You know, you're doing something very heavy for a short period of time, resting and then repeating. So
and your body gets pretty pumped up too. Like I just did a couple of sprints with the sled, and my legs were pumped like I did a leg workout.
Oh yeah, yeah. You could get a greater pump doing 5 intervals of some type of heavy sled pushing or any heavy interval training. Even if you do it on the bicycle and you do 15-second sprinting like with a heavy resistance, doing 5 of those, your leg pump will be bigger than your entire hour volume leg workout.
It's crazy how that works, huh?
Yeah, I know. It's funny. People just don't think about this type of stuff. They just go with what everybody else is doing, and they don't decide to experiment and see what really works for themselves. So,
all right, guys, we're gonna move on to rule number 5, and this is our last and final rule. Don't be afraid of periods of low calories, but first, don't forget to maximize your metabolism. So the main problem with women is they automatically think, okay, you know, I never had a woman who came to me and said, I want to bulk up. You know, I get men that come to me all the time. Oh, I want to gain muscle. I want to gain muscle. I want to get bigger. I want to get stronger. My dog's kind of going nuts right now. What the hell are you doing? Hey.
Dog got upset. We were talking about low calories.
Yeah, my female dog actually. So see, what's the matter? She wants more calories. So anyway, you know, I always get guys that come to me that automatically want to gain muscle. It doesn't really happen with women, and you know, I think like again another stigma is women automatically think, okay, I want to diet, I need to just drop all my calories and go from there, and that couldn't be anywhere farther from the truth. You know, the term metabolic damage and all the, you know, that whole thing being thrown around, it's definitely more occurring in women, and I think for the simple fact that women automatically always want to diet. So I think it's very important for women to maximize your metabolism, to slowly add in the calories and build up your metabolism to the point where you're taking in a lot more calories. And then when you're ready to diet, don't be afraid to get a little aggressive and, you know, drop your calories lower than where they need to be. But again, don't leave them there. You know, it's just for a short amount of time. It's not a permanent type of a thing.
Right. Yeah. The key there is periods of low calories because, again, I don't think this was a fear for women for a long time until more recently, since the whole metabolic damage thing came out, which you just mentioned. And so now a lot of women are afraid to go too low in calories because they're afraid of this. You know, women are much smaller than men. They're going to need periods of very low calories
Except at the Arnold Classic.
Weight.
There's a lot of big women there.
That's true. There's a lot of women that are bigger than me at the Arnold Classic. But in general, I'm talking about the average woman, a smaller woman. You know, if you're trying to get down and you're a little petite girl, you're 115 pounds or something like that, your body's not going to need 2,000-3,000 calories. You know, you're going to there's plenty of females who they have to get down under 1,500 calories to lose weight. And small periods of this it's not a bad thing. You know, sometimes for men getting in contest shape, we're going to have to drop. I'm lucky. I never really have to drop my calories below 2,000. You know, they're usually like maybe even 2,200. But there's plenty of guys who get lean enough where they need to drop their calories to like 1,800. So a guy who's weighing, and that's a guy who's maybe 175, 180 pounds, might even need to drop that low. Again, it's for a short period of time. So the key there is if you maximize your metabolism, meaning that you take in enough calories so that your metabolism is functioning optimally, you're going to have to go through periods of time where they're low, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It becomes bad when it's chronic, long period of time of just restricting your calories. So don't be afraid to go low for a little while.
Yeah, and you maximize your metabolism by going to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com, clicking on the episode, not the episodes, but the products link, and picking up the copy of the Maximizing Your Metabolism, and we'll go cover everything you need to know about that. But I want to go back a little bit because we mentioned it, you know, and I bet you we have some women who are listening to this who are saying, okay, but then, you know, if I shouldn't be worried about working out with weights, how come there's women that walk around that are bigger than Big Pete? And the reason of that, my God, I can't speak today. The reason because of that is they're using extra and inserting extra amounts of testosterone into their body. So they're injecting more hormones than normal. So like I said, a woman at the top unit has 20 nanograms per deciliter. These women are injecting around 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. It could be a week. So what is that? That's more than 100 times.
Yeah, there's plenty of women who do use anabolics and use performance-enhancing drugs that are way over muscular compared to the average woman and compared to the average man. But again, that's because now they're artificially taking testosterone, and they artificially have more testosterone circulating in their body than the average man. So of course they're going to put on extra muscle, but that's the goal for them. For the average woman, it's just not physiologically possible with lower testosterone than men.
Yeah, and don't laugh, ladies, because I checked out the USAPL, which is a natural powerlifting organization, and they always come out with a list every year of all the competitors that failed their drug tests. And out of all the list, a majority of the people on that list were women, and they were caught with anabolics. So it definitely happens way more than you think. There may be a girl that might even be a little bit more muscular than normal. Chances are, if she competes at some level, she might be taking stuff. So do not be, thrown into that, this girl looks great, I want to look like her, because you never know what these women or any person is doing. I mean, the same goes for men. For men. You can't, sell yourself, okay, I want to look like this guy, but that guy could be doing things that you're not willing to do as far as, supplementation goes. So do not be put into that hype and compare yourself to other people. Focus on yourself, focus on these 5 rules that we gave you, and go from there. Because that's what's going to bring you to the next level. When you start focusing on things you can't control, like other people's bodies, that's when you start getting frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a good mantra to take away from this is remember to do your squats, do your deadlifts, and eat your protein. If you can remember those 3 things, that's going to cover most of the groundwork for everything you need.
And listen to New York Muscle Radio. There's 4 things.
That's the 4th thing.
All right, guys. I think we pretty much covered this one. This is a quick one today, but we got straight to the point, man. We've been out of the loop a little bit, so we haven't been blabbling like we normally do.
Yeah, it feels good to be back. I enjoy doing these podcasts. They're always fun, and I always like to reflect a little bit about what type of information is being put out there and what we have to offer. And it's refreshing knowing that we're actually putting out the right content for people, because I can't begin to tell you how much shit I hear on a regular basis that's just sabotaging everyone's progress.
So true. It's ridiculous. And I'm glad that we're doing this podcast too, because a lot of things have come to light with me. I mentioned the drugs for the women and stuff, but it's the same thing for me. I'm under the impression that everyone's natural, and I look around and then Pete's like, he's not natural, right? He's not natural, right? So it's like, kind of like, wow, you can't worry about anything else other than yourself, and that's just the bottom line with anything in life. But guys, make sure you check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/New York Muscle Radio. Head over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com and pick up your copy of Cracking the Flexible Dieting Code, our ebook that shows you how to eat whatever you want and still get results. Follow us on Instagram. I'm at AB Fitness. Pete's at Jacked Fitness, JAKKED Fitness. And
and if you guys, I've been getting a lot of requests on Instagram and on Facebook about coaching. That we have a tab on the website, but you could either do that or just go right to the you can send us an email directly at newyorkmuscleradio@gmail.com, whatever works better for you. But you can catch us on the website or send us an email directly. But I think that's all for today, right?
Yeah. And if you guys want to shout out again, head over to the New York Muscle Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Tell us how much you love us. Tell us how much Anthony's arms are catching up to Big Pete's and almost getting past his. Talk about how Pete's hair is looking good today. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk.
Yeah, we're open for anything.
All right, guys. Well, Pete, it's your turn, bud.
All right, Pete and Anthony, New York Muscle Radio, and we're out.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.